Hi there, and welcome back to Drive Time Marketing, the show where we help casino marketers turn strategy into action and insights into impact. I'm Julia Carcamo, and in today's episode, we're talking about belonging to the brand and what it takes to become the most human company in your market. Ideas, I think, fit regional casino markets perfectly. My guest today is Mark Schaefer. He's a marketing strategist, keynote speaker, author of Belonging to the Brand, one of my most favorite books, and of the idea that the most human company wins. He's also, by the way, one of my most favorite people. Mark,
Ah,
welcome. And for listeners who may be new to your work, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're focused on right now?
sure. Well, it's a delight to be with you again, Julia. Thank you so much. And well, I was in the corporate world for more than 25 years, and then started my own business. Gosh, I think it's been 15 or 16 years ago now, and really immersed myself in the world of social media. I thought it was endlessly fascinating. Started a blog. The blog got attention, and that led to an invitation to write books. And then the books became popular, and that led to an invitation to start speaking. And my speaking, that's where I originally met you at a wonderful event. And yeah, so it's just kind of built from there. I also am a university educator at Rutgers University. I have a podcast. I've written 12 books, and I'm glad you like Belonging to the Brand. It's one of my favorite books too.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect kind of analysis for regional markets. I have a client who once said to me, I feel like our casinos are the community hub.
Mm.
And so I want to explore that a little bit more. But let's set the foundation here. I know that you at that conference that we met in person, and by the way, I did stalk you originally on Twitter way back when Twitter was the place where you found all the marketing pros, right? You know, we have a tendency in casino markets to really draw on how we create more visits through offers. So we send out free play offers, or we give you a comp to this, or tickets to that. So I want to talk about where offers and belonging begins. And why does that line matter now, especially for us as regional casino operators?
Well, let me talk about one of the inspirations I had for this book. My family grew up in Pittsburgh. We were like everyone, and an immigrant family, and my great grandparents settled there, and my grandfather was a plumber, and I was a blue collar family, and they would go to their local stores. They would just kind of walk down the street, and they would get their meat and their groceries, or get their clothing repaired, or whatever. And so I hadn't been back to Pittsburgh in many, many years, and I went into one of the stores they used to go to. And it has been there since like 1903. And it still has like the worn wooden floors and has this big glass cabinet with hundreds of different kinds of cheese and meats. And my grandfather used to call it the Italian store. And I knew it was a special occasion when we got something from the Italian store. It was probably Christmas. So I go into this store, and and it's just like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
The people behind the counter knew everybody that came into the store other than me. I was a stranger from another city, right? And oh, Mrs. Sullivan, how are you doing today? How's Mr. Sullivan today? Oh, Mr. Sullivan isn't doing too well. He had a fall. Oh, look, we got something special in today. Let me pack up something a little special for Mr. Sullivan to make him feel better. I just stood, and then there was like this little corner where people were chatting and talking about the local news. And as I sat back and watched this, I felt this deep sense of sadness that I had never experienced this in my whole life. I've never walked into a store one time where someone knew me
Yeah.
and appreciated me and connected with me on a personal basis. So, Julia, this is really the first kind of marketing.
Yeah.
That's how we grew our businesses. That's how we built loyalty through these personal connections. Then we got into this mass marketing era and we forgot all about that. And so when you think about where we're going in the future, especially when you've got AI that's making things even like more, people are able to spam at scale at even, greater lengths. I just think we live in this society where our customers long to belong. Especially with with casinos. At least the casinos I've been in tends to be what I've seen tends to be older customers a lot of
Hmm.
time. And we live in this world with record levels of loneliness and isolation and even depression. And why do you think these people are coming to this casino? Sure, it's a little bit of excitement. It's a little, you know, a little way to spend a little money and, live out a fantasy or something like this. But how much more would it mean to people if they really felt like it was a
Right.
community? I'm part of this. People know me here. I'm appreciated here. I think it's just a huge opportunity.
You say that, and a friend of mine, Jay-Z, she's been a boot camp coach for us. One of the things she always loved to do when she works for a vendor now, but she used to work in a casino, and she said she would love to introduce customers to each other and help them create community.
Wow. Let me tell you something. You're onto something big there because the research shows that in a community, it's more important to connect the people to each other
Hmm.
than to connect them to you. Because when they're connected to each other and they have a place to go, online or offline,
Right.
where they have friends, where they connect, where they can share stories. In my I have a community dedicated to the future of marketing. In this community, people are collaborating. They're on each other's podcasts. They're even starting to create businesses together. And that emotional connection transfers to you.
Right.
So that sense of love and friendship and connectiveness transfers to you. People literally belong to the brand. Because why would they leave? That would mean leaving their friends, leaving their community. So what you're hinting at here is a very, very powerful idea and the real economic benefit of communities.
You know, um, Not that this was part of the topics we were going to be discussing, but since you mentioned, your community and how you work together, you even produced a book together.
Yeah, yeah, and um, uh, so this is another. See, you're just feeding me great ideas. So another thing that builds communities is you've got to have content, you've got to have activities that encourage people to come together. And so I was sort of inspired. There was a woman in the community who she had a dream of writing a book. And long story short, the circumstances of her life, she was never really going to be able to write a book. She was raising six kids and her life was kind of chaos. And I thought, but she could write one chapter of a book. What if we created this book together? So I sort of organized it, and our community, yeah, we had a book. We had 36 co-authors from all around the world. Not only did they write the book, they narrated the Audible book. So you've got accents from Australia and Germany and Ireland and Belgium. And, it's like the Forrest Gump box of chocolates. Each chapter, you don't know what you're going to get. So that was an extraordinary opportunity.
And I think that the notion of belonging together and to a community and to the brand, it really just, I feel, and I don't know if this was intentional, that it really kind of springs from that notion that you had years ago of the most human company would win and being the most human organization.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the mistakes people make today is they confuse personalization with personal.
Oh,
So we can use technology for personalization. But I gotta tell you, like if I see an email or like a direct mail piece with my name slapped at the top, to me, that's an automatic signal to ignore it. The irony is that personalization has become impersonal. You're just part of the system. What, personal is when you really have this human to human connection. It's just not another, lead nurturing
mhm.
program where I'm going to stick your name on something and keep, annoying you till you block me or something. When I get an email from someone who's made an effort to really connect with me in a human way, I always open it. I always open it. I always respond to it.
Yeah.
But there's sort of like this pattern of personalization now that comes with technology. That's the irony. Personalization has become impersonal.
Yeah, and for casinos, we do have tools to make things more personalized.
Mhm.
Our CRM systems are designed to collect preferences
Yeah,
so that we can create unique experiences for each person, and we don't often take advantage of it.
yeah. And I'm not really sure. I'm not an expert in the casino business like you are, but I think there really is an opportunity for um, just people in this casino just to walk around
Yeah,
and greet people and make them feel like they know somebody and that
yeah.
and that they're welcome. Here's what it reminds me of. Uh, a while ago, I was doing some consulting for a big national fast food chain. Um, and I probably won't say the name of the chain, but they were trying to figure out how they can best use social media.
Hmm.
And I said, wouldn't it be amazing if the manager of every store was building social media connections with people in the community? And you just watch what they were doing and watch what they were saying and say, hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
Or maybe someone gets married or someone gets a promotion and you say, hey, next time you're in the store, come by and say hi and, free sandwich on me, something like that. And they said, oh, you mean like we use like this franchise had like a character that's sort of famous with the store. Oh, we use like that character. I said, no, no, no. Use a real human
Right.
being. Show them your face. I mean, it wouldn't take that much time. It just wouldn't really take that much time to just spend 10 minutes a day looking at social media, building a list of people in your community, showing your face, showing your heart, showing you care. And then people are going to talk about that and they're going to feel connected to that because it's a real human instead of a, like you said, a coupon or an ad or an offer.
So I love this idea, and I hope somebody steals it because when I think about our most valuable high worth customers, we typically have a system in place to be very personal with them in terms of our hosts and our player development staff. But
Mhm.
then there's that level right below that, boy, if we could get one more visit out of them, if we could get them to spend an hour longer with us, would
Mhm.
be really valuable to us. And I think that that's a really great opportunity to say, who are these people and how can we connect with them in a non-traditional way? We're going to take a quick break from our great conversation just so that I can tell you that the 2026 Casino Marketing Bootcamp calendar is live. We're bringing back our highly rated signature event in New Orleans and our Midwest Strategy and Planning Bootcamp in Tulsa. Plus, we're adding two brand new gatherings. We're going to kick off the year in the Southwest in January with a fresh boot camp focused on player development and loyalty. And then to close out August, we're debuting a powerful 2-day program dedicated to direct marketing. 4 events, all hands on learning, the skills your team needs to win your market in 2026. Join us at casinomarketingbootcamp.com.
Yeah. Well, um there's two really important leadership lessons from the book that seem a little maybe counterintuitive from historically where we've been with management and leadership. And number one is the importance of safety. So, I mean, I think that probably goes without saying in a
Yeah.
casino. You're going to come and you're going to feel like you're welcome there. And, this is a place that, I belong. But the other one is this idea of dispensing status. Now, casinos can be good at that
Yep.
because, there's probably different tiers. But more important than that is making sure people are seen and heard. So,
Yeah.
let me tell you what I mean. So, I don't live in a place where I have, casinos necessarily nearby. So, I'm not a frequent visitor to casinos. But whenever I'm in a town that has a casino, I'll use, especially if it's in, in a hotel where I'm speaking or something like that, I'll spend some time in the casino, and the casino might recognize me as a new customer, and they'll try to
Right.
lure me into their loyalty program or
Mhm.
something like that. But it really doesn't mean anything to me. But if someone did something personal for me, if they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we saw that you were here,"
Yeah.
they greeted me at the door, or they reached out and sent a little video or something even. It just wouldn't take that long
Um,
to do something like that. I mean, that would really make a big difference. I
yeah.
mean, again, it's just like moving me from, a couple times a year to maybe one more visit.
Right.
It's not going to be part of a loyalty program.
Well, where else have you seen kind of these human behaviors outperforming tech? We do, I think industry wide, we rely on tech, and we're not the only industry that's just saying, "Hey, let's put more technology in
Yeah,
because we are, trying to cut back on headcount, or
sure,
we can't hire enough people." I mean,
sure.
that's a problem that we've been having in the regional markets is not being able to hire enough people, and so we lean on tech.
Well, I'm not anti-tech. Um, I think tech can be very important, and there are ways that we can use tech to scale our
Yeah.
our humanity in ways. But I also think casinos, like most businesses, have over-indexed toward optimization.
Mm.
So, I mean, if you think about, let's think about our world before 1995. It was 100% connection and human and seeing
Yeah.
people on the floor. And then we got into this world of social media and digital advertising, and oh my gosh, now we're in a world where we can measure everything,
Everything.
and we can optimize our ads, and we can optimize our
Mhm.
SEO, and we can optimize our email marketing. And look, that has been fantastic. But it's almost like how we've lost sight of that family store. Okay, think about that family store. They don't need to optimize anything.
Right.
They've probably never taken out an ad in their whole life. They've probably never had a sale in their whole life, because they just have the community
Mhm.
just comes, right?
Right.
And so I think there does have to be this balance. And we've lost our way. Maybe we've even forgotten how to do it. The reason I'm in marketing, Julia, is I when I took my first marketing class, I opened up Principles of Marketing by Dr. Philip Kotler. I still have it here on my desk. And he said, marketing is a combination of psychology, sociology, and anthropology. How many people still think about it that way? Or is it our tech stack?
Right.
Or is it our CRM system? And I'm not saying that's not important. It is, but we've over-indexed. We've just gone too far. And I think the businesses that just, start to put some attention on the humanity of business, I think there's this massive opportunity for them to win.
Well, Mark, this conversation has been excellent as I expected, but I want to play a little game with you that we started playing with our guest called Fan or Flop.
Okay?
So I've got just a couple of ideas. I'm going to pitch them to you, and you can either be a fan of it or think of it as a flop. Sometimes some of our guests find ways to fix them. So, how about
I'm usually a big failure at these rapid fire things
I
because I
think
don't have a rapid fire brain, but I'll do my best.
how about community rooms, sort of like poker slots, Keno fan club meetups?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I think that builds connections between people, and I love that.
How about in-app only promotions?
Hard to say. Um, I don't know the business well enough, so
Mhm.
I probably can't comment on
Yeah.
that.
How about, well, I think that I know the answer to this. A video message welcoming new members from the general manager.
A video message, yeah, especially if it actually has, says the person's name.
Yeah.
Um, and again, I mean, it doesn't have to be a Hollywood production. Just a 30-second video, I mean, I think would be amazing.
Cell phone.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Cell phone and a little tripod,
Yeah,
10 seconds and you're done.
that's right.
Yeah. Okay, so before we leave, I want to ask you for your recommendation. So maybe like one thing, remember I said that our higher worth customers are really kind of tended to by our host. What's one thing a host could do this week that makes a deeper connection with a customer that helps them feel like they belong?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, wouldn't it be cool just, someone that's uh playing blackjack or doing, at a slot machine or something, if the manager of the place would just come by and say hi and shake their hand and
Yeah,
say, "We're so glad you're here. And I just wanted to introduce myself and, look, hey, there's, maybe a server on the floor say, hey, come on over and let's give this person a drink. It's their birthday." Or they're celebrating their
yeah.
anniversary. Oh my gosh, come have lunch on me, right? I mean, something like that is going to go so far, and why wouldn't you do that? Marketing
Yeah.
is about creating customers, and every single person in that casino has some role in creating customers,
Yeah.
whether it's a server at the restaurant or someone, dealing the blackjack or whatever. So, why not just be the most human company in your niche?
And I think you touched on twice now something that's always sometimes it's the bane of my existence when our managers are not out on the floor, when they're not meeting customers, when they're not really getting the pulse of the business, and we're looking too much at facts and figures instead
Yeah,
of being on the floor and creating that connection that we need to connect. Because you're right, the goal of marketing is to create customers, but those customers will come once, but they won't come a second time unless we connect to them.
yeah. There's a word for that. I'm forgetting the word right now. But when I was in the manufacturing world, there was a term in the Toyota production system that was it. What it meant was if you really want to know what's going on, you have to walk around
Hmm.
and go to the place where the information
Yeah,
is occurring. To really be in touch with what's happening in the world, you can't just sit in your office. You go out and look, go out and
yeah,
watch, go out and you'll probably learn so much.
yeah,
Some little thing that you can do to improve an experience or to make someone happy. And I mean, if they walk away from that casino and say, "This was the friendliest place we've ever been."
yeah,
Can you believe the manager came over and when he found out it was my birthday, they all gathered around me and sang happy birthday. Can you believe that?
yeah,
So you have to remember that 10% of the population has a personality, they're a super sharer. And if you give them a story to tell, they will share that with everybody they know.
yeah,
And so if you're just kind and human, 10% of your customers are going to just keep talking about you. And that's how word of mouth marketing starts.
yeah. So, Mark, before we wrap, how can listeners follow your work or get in touch with you?
Well, it's really easy. You don't have to remember my name, let alone how to spell Schaefer. You just have to remember Businesses Grow. That's my website, Businesses Grow. And you can find my blog, my books, my social media connections, and everything we've talked about here today.
You know what? Actually, one more thing before we sign off, because I have to ask. I read Audacious, and I know that that QR code is a little magical on the cover. Would you like to share
Yeah.
that?
Well, to write a book called Audacious, it better doggone be audacious. And so, yeah, the QR code on the cover of the book, I uploaded the entire book to AI, and AI is producing abstract images based on the stories in the book. So when you hover over the cover changes continuously. It's an infinity cover. It's
Nice.
really a lot of fun. And so I'm really proud that that's like a first ever in the publishing industry for a book called Audacious.
Your publisher must have just loved that.
Well, I mean, it wasn't easy to disrupt the publishing industry, believe me.
Mark, thank you. This was a bit of a masterclass in practical humanity. And if today's idea sparked something for you, share this episode with a teammate. Try one belonging to the brand experiment, and you'll find great tips in Mark's book. All of the books are available on Amazon, if I recall, but you
Yep.
can also find the links to them on Businesses Grow.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, and thanks for listening to Drive Time Marketing. See you next time.